Excellent. So now we're going to give a little talk, and talk followed by the meditation, and the meditation followed by the countdown and chanting for the new year. It's a wonderful opportunity to have so many people here, and I thank the monks with me for helping out, and again especially Ajahn, who put a lot of energy into the quiz. But it's not just putting energy into the quiz, it's also some of the teachings which we told there. And of course there are no real winners, because every one of you is a winner because you came here to help out and to serve. We've been doing this so many years now, having a quiz night to make the Buddhism fun, enjoyable for everybody, including the children. And that was Ajahn Mudita's good idea, to start off the quiz night for children, even though many of you forgot how old you are. Nevertheless, it's really good fun. And sometimes people don't realize just how important it is that in Buddhism we do have a lot of fun and enjoy our time as Buddhists. I do apologize for reincarnating many old jokes each year. Many you've heard many times, they still get being reborn again. But I do know that when you say those funny stories, they also carry some meaning behind them. And that's also one of the reasons why it's lovely that many of you have been coming here for such a long time now. You've seen many of the monks, you've seen many of the monks like me get old, you've seen many of the new monks coming up and becoming mature monks. And for me also, because I'm very happy to see even a monk like Ajahn Mudita just really entertain you all with his performance at the quiz. I think it was excellent, wasn't he? Sometimes I ask people, do you need a hand? And I can't help him, but what I mean by giving a hand is... But there was also Venerable Siddhi Bhutto who wanted to come here this evening. And why did you want to come here this evening? You said? For inspiration. A monk is just a new monk, but nevertheless he gets a lot of inspiration through coming to a place like this and seeing how Buddhism is being taught over here. He was from the United States. And what inspired you to become a monk?
I didn't have a choice.
He said he didn't have a choice. So can you explain?
I could try, but I think I'd probably fail.
No, you did tell me there's a few things. You were listening to some of the talks from here on the internet. You go on, yes. And where did you listen to those talks? How far away were you? Where were you in the world when you listened to these talks?
In South Texas, it was a retreat center on this ranch that was surrounded by all these other ranches where they hunted deer. And there's this little oasis of this Buddhist meditation center. And I was introduced to Ajahn Brahm there, basically. And that was kind of where the decision was made. I wouldn't say that I'd made the decision, but the decision was made for me to come here. And so somehow it happened.
And were you single at the time, or did you have a partner?
Pardon me?
Were you single at the time, or did you have a partner?
I was single at the time.
But I thought you had somebody you really respected.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was after.
Yeah. And what was her reaction?
Oh, probably not as excited as I was.
I remember you telling me about some experience you had.
Yes.
Where she was having a great difficulty with her health.
Right.
Can you let me know about that?
Yeah.
Again?
So I was in a relationship with somebody before I came here to become a monk, and they were having a lot of difficulties with the previous injury that they had when they were a kid, but it had come back up. They had a herniation in their back, and they needed a fusion. And so they had this operation done. And actually before the fusion, it was like this operation to help with the herniated discs. And that happened, but then it kind of recurred within a couple months of that. And so they decided, well, we can either redo the surgery or we can fuse your spine. I think she was 31 at the time, so that's pretty young to get a spinal fusion, I think, anyways. And so she ended up, going ahead with the surgery, but there was this kind of all this time between that surgery and the surgery to come. And so during that period, she was prescribed all these painkillers and all these muscle relaxers and things like that. And I was doing what I could to support her. We were living together at the time with her niece. And as the surgery was approaching, she would take her pain medication. She wasn't working at the time. She was basically disabled. And so then as it was getting closer and closer, kind of the intensity of the pain and the duration and things were kind of increasing. And we thought, okay, well, we just have to kind of make it to the surgery. But that was becoming more difficult for her, and so one night, whenever the pain was really bad, I had to call the paramedics. And so they came and they left, and you just felt so out of sorts, like you couldn't do anything to help. That was like the one thing I wanted to do was to help, but I couldn't do it. And so they had left, and then I'm going into the long story here, Ajahn. This is not the shorter one. So they had left, and then I said, well, what do we do if it happens again? And they said, well, just call us and we can come back again. I thought, okay, well, it didn't do any good the first time. But so I called them back again, then took her to the hospital. And this was during COVID, so they were kind of taking all the beds for COVID. And so she wasn't a COVID patient, so they kind of gave her a bit of pain medication intravenously. And then they said, okay, well, time to go. So we went back home, and the pain was coming up again. And knowing secondhand the experiences that she went through in her life, it seemed like she had been through an enormous amount of pain, more than anything I could, imagine. And so we were in this situation where the pain was coming back. She had already taken all the painkillers and muscle relaxers she could safely, basically, without, threatening to, cause harm through taking more of them. And so I was sitting there at her at her bedside, kind of thinking, well, what to do? And then the thought came up, oh, I could play an Ajahn Brahm talk, which is the good Ajahn Brahm disciple, I guess. That's the first thing you think of. And so I played this talk about pain, and so I played the talk, and we got through the night, and one of the things during that talk, it was about Ajahn Brahm whenever he experienced that toothache, and how the pain is always greater at night, and so this seems to coincide with this experience. And one of the other things he says in that talk is what Ajahn Brahm said Ajahn Chah, what he said about pain is, there'll be a time whenever the pain is so bad that you can't go forward, and you can't go backwards, and you can't stay where you are. So what do? You let go. And one of the other things that was really nice about that story was how she was very skeptical by nature, just in her kind of training and her education and things. And she had said how kind of at every turn, whenever he would say something, she would kind of come up with an excuse to defeat kind of like what he had said, but then he would respond to it like, whenever he was going through all this pain with his tooth, he would try walking meditation, but then he was doing running meditation, or he was trying chanting, but then he just realized he was just yelling and all. He could just never escape it. And so she was able to let go, basically, that night. And so we made it to the surgery, and she got the surgery, and she was doing better after that. But then a few months after that, she was recovering, and she said, oh, you remember that night that, went to the hospital and stuff? I said, yes, I think I do. And then she said, well, that night, she had asked me, I I think once we got back to the hospital, so that she wouldn't have to kind of disturb me in the middle of the night for asking for any of the medications, to just bring them by her nightstand. And so I did that, trying to be a dutiful carer and partner. And she said, well, that night when I asked you to do that, I was planning on taking all of them to kill myself because the pain was so bad. And of course I didn't know that at the time. I just thought I thought I was helping. And so yeah, that talk was very powerful, and it helped her so much. And so I know a lot of people have that experience, with these talks and how helpful they are. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for sharing that, because those sorts of things are really important. For me, you asked me to give a talk, and I always try my best. But I'm also very amazed myself how powerful this Dhamma is, especially the meditation which is behind it. I'm not sure if you've been looking at my face, but this evening I've been very exhausted again. I only just came back from Penang yesterday morning at 2 a.m. So I'm still, another late night. But I don't mind doing that. The reason is because I have a lot of confidence. Just when you ever do good things, whenever you are kind and caring, you never ever ever lose out. I always find a source of energy, which I can, even all these years, I can't really understand how powerful it is. And how easy it is whenever you're doing something good and helpful for others. Look around today and see all the people here today. And the hundreds of you. We've been trying our best, and maybe I didn't contribute as much as I normally would, but there's always somebody else like an Ajahn Mudita who comes along and makes it so much fun. I enjoyed that today, Ajahn Mudita, the quiz night. So again, thank you all for coming here and joining in, showing your support of the monks here. And it's wonderful you're going to be here tomorrow for actually when we do the New Year celebration. It's not just an evening beforehand. We've been doing this for so many years now, to make sure that you have some place to go on a Christmas, and that's where those of you who were here on the 25th could actually enjoy Ajahn Mudita's Christmas party. I don't know, we're not in competition with Santa Claus, but I think if we were, I think Santa Claus would have a lot to worry about. But nevertheless, we try to do some giving, and with the monks doing that giving for you, we encourage you to give to one another as well, to make a sense of community. And one part of that community, which I always think is important, to make sure your kids have felt welcome here. I see many of the kids that they're really so comfortable here, they go fast asleep. And they're welcome all the time. No, don't wake your sister up, she needs to sleep. And also is to see they become welcome in our Buddhist society. And the monks are like they're friends. Sometimes I don't know what to call the monks and what relation they have to your kids. But hopefully we can be trustworthy friends, like a godfather. But then that doesn't make sense. That word, has psychological problems. But it's good actually to see your kids here. And it's good that your kids see the monks, so they can grow up together and it could be a service to them later on. It's like another member of your family, I'm talking about the monks here, you can always call on, to help make sure your kid doesn't play so many video games and does do well at school, but does think they are trusted as well. A lot of times I get called on to get kids out of a jam, and of course you do have contacts to be able to do that. It's not just teaching people about how to deal with pain in life, but it's also how to deal with sometimes are not very successful at things like school and stuff. But please don't ever worry about that, because there's a lot of kids who do so well in life, one of the things about being a monk for such a long time, that I've seen so many kids who are kind of hopeless. There's one kid I think about right now. He was such a naughty boy. He was in Singapore. If he ever hears this tape, you know who I'm talking about. And I was got kind of almost like a shock when I went to Singapore and asked how he was going. And his mum told me, oh, he's in Oxford now, doing a PhD on law. Oh, him? Are we talking about the same kid? Yeah. So it's amazing just, how being naughty when he was young, he really got his act together and was such an intelligent, successful, wonderful young man. And I kind of love that. How you've seen that so many times. A young person, a young man, a young girl you think, is problematical. And they totally just surprise you by becoming wonderful kids you can be so proud of. Actually, super proud of. Look at me. I was doing well at school. What happened to me? I gave it all up. I became a monk. But I think a pretty successful monk. And then one of the successes is not just by giving nice talks or getting awards and stuff. One of the things I really like is to see the effect on each one of you here. One of the great parts of our society here, I'm very proud of, pleased of, and kind of surprised of, is the people who come here. This place started off as a Thai monastery. Is it a Thai monastery now? It's a Buddhist monastery, an Australian Buddhist monastery. So we have great ties with Thailand, even to the point that I'm still a Chao Kun. Chao Kun is one of the awards which was given. This one was given by the King of Thailand, King Rama IX. That's very prestigious. But please, I'll let you know that once I was awarded that title of Chao Kun, my full name, Chao Kun Prawisudi Sangwaratera. Did you know that? Of course you don't put it on a notice board anywhere. But what it did do, apparently, only apparently, you're supposed to get a pension from the government of Thailand. For years and 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 years. I don't know what happened to that pension. I don't really mind at all. Because as a monk, we're not supposed to do things for money. It's the same that one year I had a wonderful opportunity to go to a state dinner in Parliament House in Canberra with Her Majesty the Queen. You know the Queen of what? The Queen of Australia, who just happens to be the same as the Queen of England. This is the Queen. I tell this story a lot because I found it very funny. As soon as I got the invitation, I had a look at it, prepared not to go. It was a long way and I travelled too much. But then I thought I had a good excuse. If you go to a state dinner, in Parliament House in Canberra, there's something which you have to fulfill. Dress code. I don't have to fit a dress code over here. As the monks know that sometimes my robe is almost falling off. But over there you had no choice, you had to go for a dress code. And I looked, there's 3 options on the dress code. The first option on the dress code to go to a state dinner with Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles, the first option was black tie. And I think I've told many of you, I had not got a clue what that means. So I had to ask people who know much more than I do about this, is that all you wear in a state dinner, because that's all they said, just a black tie. They did explain it meant like a black tie, a suit, a white shirt, trousers. And honestly, we don't have anything like that in Bodhinyana Monastery. So I thought, okay, no need to go. But there were two more choices. The second choice was military uniform. We don't have military uniform in Bodhinyana Monastery. And number two, I'm a pacifist. I can't wear military uniform. So I thought, oh, definitely not going. Then I looked at the third option. And the third option, I thought, wow, I can go. The third option, long dress. And honestly, that's what I said when I got stopped by security when I got to the entrance of Parliament House over in Canberra. He said, "Are you invited?" And I said, "Yeah, I had my invitation there." And I said, "Look, third, long dress." I'll get in. You know, it helps to have a sense of humour, because then other people can enjoy listening to you and accepting your excuse. Another time, that I give lots of talks overseas, I went to I'll say more about this, I should say first of all, the state dinner. Many of you know, dinner. I'm not allowed to eat any dinner, never do. So you know what I did? I was going to refuse everything, but just go there and just talk to people. But I was so surprised. It was a 3-course dinner. And I saw the menu, I said, I can't eat any of that in the evening, I've got my monastic rules. But the first course they served to me? Cheese. And the second course they served to me? Another type of cheese. And I must admit that was some of the best cheese I've ever eaten. I mean, it was prepared for Her Majesty the Queen. So of course it was really high quality. And the last course. Have a guess what the last course was of my 3-course meal? No tea. Tea is what you drink, what you eat. That's right, dark chocolate. I haven't got a clue where they found that out, that I could eat cheese and chocolate. But that's what I had with dinner with the Queen. I was really happy that they did their research. So that was really good fun. But I also remember on that occasion, it was part of the 2019 or 20 Melbourne Commonwealth Games. And so there was a lot of invitations there. And I went there. They always have these invitations to state dinners and a meeting with the Queen. Ajahn, Brahm and partner. They do make some mistakes. So you know who I took as my partner? Ajahn Sujato. You've seen him before. So I only had a few days to actually sort this out. So I called him over in Sydney and I said, I need your help. He said, I'm really busy. I said, to meet the Queen. I never realised he was such a royalist. He said, really, the Queen? Is another one of your jokes? I said, well, no, this is true. So he came along. And I'm glad he came along, because if ever you go to any of these functions, sometimes obviously the Queen and then maybe Prince Philip, they were the two main attractions. But there was also someone else there as well. And when I saw him being by himself, no one was taking any notice of him. And I thought, you've got to be kind, I'm a monk. So I said to Ajahn Sujato, let's go and talk to this gentleman. And we talked to him, and he had very little hair. It was getting very thin. And so, I'm Ajahn Brahm, you know me. So I couldn't help but telling a joke. And I said, if you lose any more of your hair, I'll invite you to become a monk with me and my friend. Ha ha. And the best part of that story was after we'd finished talking with this gentleman, Ajahn Sujato asked, who was that? He said, that was Prince Edward. Not Prince Andrew, I wouldn't talk to him. And he said to me, you can't talk making jokes to a prince. Well, I did, and you did too, so they're going to have to arrest us. So I like that, because so often that people don't talk to each other in a sense of like humanity, not in hierarchy, in a sense of kindness, and just telling a silly joke. Just like when I went to give I give so many talks, and every now and again you get these really interesting talks you can give. And this particular talk was in a human resources conference over in London. And the organisers were going to pay business class airfare and hotel fees just to go and give a talk at the Docklands in London at a new in a new conference centre on human rights, only for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And I thought, okay, if you're willing, then why not? But then what I found out, just about half an hour before I was going to give my presentation at this conference on the Buddhist idea of human resources and how we should look after each other and care for one another as an important part of human resources, that they said there was two people. They said they knew you were trying to get in the conference centre for free. And I said, who are they? So I went to go and have a look. And those two people trying to get in to my lecture for free was my brother and my niece. I said, what are you trying to get in for free? You work as a banker, and you've got a job as well, niece. And they said, do you know how much they're charging? Just for 1 hour lecture, it was £90. £90 for 1 hour. How much have you paid this evening to listen to me? Now I know my market rate. I think I need to demand more from the BSWA. Is that a good idea? No, of course not. And so I told, this is my brother and niece, they want to come and see me, so they came in to see me. And that was really good fun. But the talk was good, they enjoyed that, so much so that as soon as I got back to Perth, I came back here, I got a letter from the National Health Service in UK. All funded by the government. In the National Health Service, they said, we were at that conference, we liked your presentation, we want to invite you back to England to give a presentation at our national conference being held in Birmingham in about a week's time. The National Conference of the British National Health Service. So I wrote back to them. I say, I'm really surprised at you. You should be ashamed of yourself. You of all people, the British National Health Service, should know how bad for your health it is to do too much international travel without any rest. And I've just been to London and I just got back again. And you want me to return once more? No, of course not. And they really liked that refusal. They said they had that letter on the desk of all their senior people so they could never do that again. Sometimes I enjoy being a bit cheeky. But one of the best one of the best conferences I ever went to. That was over in, I think you all know this story, over in South Korea. Again, I got this invitation. Business class tickets, 5-star hotel, all for half an hour work. That's all. It was at they wanted me to give the keynote address, not an ordinary part of the conference, the keynote address, which sets the whole mood of the conference for the World Computer Society. So when I went there, I told all the monks, and you know this, Ajahn Mudita, we've been trying to tweak this questionnaire for the quiz this evening. He did most of the work, because he knows much more about computers than I'll ever know. And it was at the World Computer Conference. Because I didn't know anything about computers, not much at that time anyway, I thought, yeah, let's go. And a lot of people there, they had all these incredibly intelligent people flying in. You know, I know one person I talked to a lot, he was the head of the EU cybersecurity division, some big professor. And he said to me, I've never heard about you before. I'm glad he didn't, otherwise I'd be in trouble. European head of security for the European Union. But nevertheless, I made a lot of interesting contacts. And a lot of people asked the same question of me. What are you doing here? Why am I giving a keynote address at this prestigious conference in South Korea? And that's when I told them. I think I've mentioned this story somewhere recently, but do you know why they really enjoyed having a person who knows very little about computing come into their conference? It was because there's something we call innovation. Innovation is, again, like thinking outside the box. That's one of the reasons that I love giving advice and getting advice from people in different fields. There is one person one type of person, one worker I always like asking questions of, and that's the funeral workers. There's this lady I remember talking to, because if ever you go to a funeral service here in Australia, you always see the priest or the person conducting the funeral and the funeral manager, one of the workers, they walk in front, and all the relations, they walk behind. So I have like a while to have a nice chat to all these funeral workers. And this lady, she said she was the head of one of Bauer and O'Dear's offices here in Perth. And I liked her honesty. I said, sometimes do you work alone in the office at night? She said, yes. Do you see any ghosts at night? She said, all the time. What do you see? She said, sometimes she's in the office in the back, doing some paperwork. And also she has to check on all the coffins they have there in cold storage. And she said she was at the office once, and she's not once, many times she says this happens, and she sees one of the people who had died in cold storage walking past her office, a real ghost, the whole thing. Is it honest? I said, yeah, many times. What do you do? And she said, what she says, she shouts at that ghost, get back in your box. Honestly, that's what she kept saying. I tell the ghost to go back in your box, stop messing around, I'm busy. So anyway, and when it goes to the all those little, I love telling those stories because I get it from the source, and I ask her many times to make sure I trust her that she's telling the truth. And I asked her once, what's the scariest? Should I tell the scariest story? What's the scariest story? She told me something I never really knew. In the funeral industry here in Australia, you know when the coffin goes in the hearse, and the hearse goes to the crematorium or to the graveyard, that every time before the hearse leaves their quarters, and when it comes back, they employ one person to clean the hearse, inside and outside, everything. So it's absolutely perfect for the next customer. And she said one day, she was in the funeral home at the time, the cleaner, once the hearse had come back from a previous funeral, had to clean it 100% inside, outside. And it cleaned it on the inside and was starting to clean it on the outside, and noticed something really, really weird. The windows inside started to mist up. It started to mist up, and there was no aircon on inside or anything causing this mist, until the windows inside were misted all over. Not on the outside, but just on the inside. And then she saw a handprint appear on that windscreen. It's pretty freaky. Something inside was trying to get out. So what happened next? There was nothing, just the mist disappeared and everything was okay. I love stories like that. If anybody's writing books, you can actually write, or doing TV shows or something, or doing, advertising. You can do advertising like that. It makes a lot of sense. Does it? Yeah, advertising for don't clean your windows with ordinary cleaner, otherwise that might happen. Do a proper cleaning job inside and you don't get the handprints. Anyway, so I love telling the stories like that. How tired are you? When I tell stories like that, no one ever falls asleep except the kids. Why? You're afraid of ghosts. No, the ghosts can never harm you. But anyhow, nevertheless, it's our new year now, and I want to do a bit of meditation because I've been sitting here talking, doing all sorts. Do I look tired now? How come? Have I scared myself? No. Sometimes, because I know how my body works. If you really put energy into what you're doing, you feel energy growing up in you. So right now I'll be perfectly awake until the midnight, and at the midnight, when the midnight actually comes, then I will just be able to look at the clock, and then don't do a countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Having talked about time in other realms, we'll say, welcome to 2026, and then we'll do the metta chant for you. It's a great way of starting this year. I'm not quite sure what you've got planned for this year, but I know that many of the monks here, Ajahn Brahmali, Ajahn Mudita, so many of our monks, we travel the world. Is it good we travel the world? Some say yes, some say no, because some of you first saw me when I traveled the world. We've got many people here from Indonesia. You're here because I first saw you in Medan or other places in the world. How many of you have seen me in Sri Lanka? How many have seen me in Thailand, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in UK? one of the next places I'm going to, I saw the couple earlier, is going to be Poland. There's 2 Polish people still there? They're over there. No. Have you gone to bed now? They're getting old. They're probably jet lagged as well. And sorry? Okay, yeah. And also Burmese. So many times you've come here over so many years. You have other temples, but you always come here on this day. And you're always really, 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 really welcome. And of course from New York. Texas. From the ranches. Real Texas. It's a real American. Is that true? John Wayne territory. Is that correct? No, probably not. But anyway, it's so nice to see you all here. And from every other country and land you've come from, welcome here. Of course, New Zealand and Greece. Where else? Australia. Oh, that's it. I always miss out Australia. I don't know why. But anyhow, it's nice to see you all. And it's nice that this brings so many people together on a New Year's Eve. It's a wonderful tradition. So thank you all for coming here. I'm now going to start some meditation it's only 20 minutes. It won't seem that long. Only about maybe 15 minutes long. That's all it seems. I'm from Vietnam. I don't know if I've told you or made that announcement. My next trip overseas. Where's it going to be? Where? Vietnam, yeah. On the 27th of January. Ho Chi Minh. So as long as I survive the new year, I'll be in Vietnam next year. Is that good? How many were nodding their head come from Vietnam? Okay, anyway. So I kind of enjoy seeing so many different parts of the world where you're really, 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 really respected. So let's do some meditation now, as best you possibly can. So, the lights are already dimming down. Okay. So please close your eyes. If you want to leave the eyes open, that's fine too. And with the eyes closed or half open, doesn't make much difference, there's nothing much to see. Then we can start, first of all, being kind to ourselves. Now I'm paying attention to my body. Ever since I came in here, I've been sitting here, haven't gone out. My body's kind of used to that. It knows how to behave. I was well taught by Ajahn Chah. As long as he was giving a talk, he shouldn't move or go out. And he gave talk for hours sometimes. I hated it at the time, but it really got my body well suited to being a monk, sitting for long periods of time. One of the first things I kind of manufacture at first, I create this sense of being happy to be here. I'm in this little community, in this temple which we built such a long time ago, really trying to do my best. And if ever I fail or make a mistake, I never hide it. I make sure that I do what an Ajahn Chah would do, which is make fun, enjoy no matter what I have to do. And I feel my whole body. This is my 75th year in this body, 51st year as a monk, so actually 52nd. And I kind of have this gratitude towards my own body. Thank you for lasting so long. And that feeling of gratitude is one of those positive emotions which kind of dispels all negativity, all fault-finding. There's two Polish people who were here earlier. They said one of the most important stories which they associated with me was the two bad bricks in the wall, and not focusing on the mistakes, which are always going to be there, but on the 998 beautiful bricks, which I hadn't noticed. So right now, even though some parts of my body are sore, nevertheless I look at all of the parts of the body which are really behaving incredibly well. My voice, my head, my back. I got sore knees, but they're not that bad. And the rest of my legs. It's a pretty good enough body to meditate here with you until midnight. When I feel that gratitude and respect and being happy that my body is able to do this, it gives me a sense of joy, literally. And that joy keeps me happy. And in that joy, I realize that what a wonderful way this is to finish off the year of 2025. Any logical monk who followed their doctor would not be allowed to stay up so late. But I've always been rebellious. I always feel I should know my body better than any doctor. I know my body can handle this with ease. I make ease in my body. I never fight against pain. I never make a battle with it. I make friends with it. I learn how to make peace with everything which I find should be better. It means I don't go to war. I don't have arguments. Never feels correct. So I'm just observing, being mindful, aware of how my body feels, aware of the energy that I feel coming from each one of you. I realize even though I'm a senior monk, responsible for many of those buildings, including this one here. This hall here was designed by this monk called Ajahn Brahm. And I never thought, after so many years, there'd be so many amazing laymen and laywomen from so many parts of the world sitting here. And here am I, sitting between two wonderful Buddhist friends, one from Finland, the other one from Texas. That brings me joy. And it's the joy, it's the happiness which overcomes any discomfort. There's about 10 minutes to go. So I'm going to start being quiet. Only about 3 minutes to go. One minute. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.5, 1, 0. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Please don't give greetings yet. We'll give the chanting first. And please join in, if you wish, the Metta Sutta in English. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, freed from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views. The pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And happy 2026.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you all. Okay, so now to say Happy New Year to one another, and we'll see you next time.